Welcome to Forcing Function Hour. I'm your host, Chris Sparks. This is the Best of 2022 episode highlighting 5 of our favorite moments from the past year. Lots of stellar guests on Forcing Function Hour this year, so it was really tough to limit down to just 5. Eric Jorgenson is the author of the Almanack of Naval Ravikant, a guide to wealth and happiness built from the best of Naval's interviews, tweets, and podcasts. Eric teaches the Life of Leverage course, hosts his podcast Jorgenson Soundbox, and is an investor in early-stage startups as a GP in Rolling Fund. In this highlight, Eric describes the genesis of his venture fund, Rolling Fund. Eric identified angel investing as a key point of leverage, recognizing that increasing his check size would be the fastest path to extending that current lever.
I'm valuing more and more like divine simplicity of a few long levers in life. And one of those that is kind of front and center for me right now is, in the tech world, you have friends who are all the time sort of starting these new amazing companies. And earlier in my career, I started sort of scratching together some cash and investing in some of those friends who I knew to be particularly smart and hardworking and high integrity, who were working on cool problems. And over the last 5 years or so, I've seen the benefits of those investments come back. And I'm like, man, these are some amazing investments. Like, we knocked some of these out of the park, which is amazing. And then, at the time I was 24, 25, I only had $5,000 to spare. Like, these are tiny investments in the scheme of things. And it's one of those things where it's the right motion, but it's not any harder to invest $50,000 than $5,000. I just didn't have the capital. It still would be very difficult to invest $50,000 in the number of companies that you need to for an angel investment. But AngelList has a new type of fund structure that actually makes it way easier for somebody like me to sort of let investors come alongside and join my investments on like a very predictable rolling basis. So that they're called rolling funds, and it's different than a traditional fund structure. So I don't have to go be a full-time VC and raise a ton of money and spend 2 years sort of building these new set of relationships and reach fund scale. I can just say, hey, I'm going to invest my money here. If you want to come with me, you can join as well. And so that has gone, I have gone from writing $10,000 personal checks now to 40, 50 and more checks alongside all of these limited partners and investors. And it's largely the same motion. We write a few more checks. I've got partners that we share deals with now. And that foundation is set for continued scale, right? Like, if we're investing $1 million a year now, we can do $3 million a year with largely the same motion, the same infrastructure. We're just investing larger and larger amounts. As long as we don't go so big, so fast that we fundamentally overshoot our deal flow or the allocation size that we can get in these companies, then we're doing mostly the same amount of work, but we're including others. We're benefiting LPs. We're saving founders time because we're writing bigger checks, and we're adding leverage to our own efforts. And it is such a clean sort of example of like, hey, if you're going to be doing this work anyway, I'm going to always see 10 to 20 great deals, great investments every year for the rest of my life, because I love reading about tech and meeting founders and going to dinners and going to conferences and writing these books about the future of technology and how to think about it. And I'm just like, all of the things that I'm doing sort of naturally synergize with investing in early stage tech companies. And I can do that with higher leverage through this rolling fund model. And so we are, sort of continuing to process that and open that up. And it's been amazing to see that is a lever that is definitely, we built it over the last year, and now we're very much in the mode of sort of extending that lever. And it's been a big focus recently and will continue to be. It's a really, I think it's a clean example of sort of what we're talking about, of like, find motions that you're already doing that you've proven out with your own efforts, figure out how to make that lever longer, figure out how to increase the impact, very specifically in sort of like win-win ways, and find a few of those that you really love, back to how we spend our time, that we love the process of. I love learning about new industries, learning about new technologies, meeting new founders, talking with investors. Like, those are all really fun things for me to do on a daily basis. And you can do it with higher and higher impact with more leverage.